Geek Insider presents Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky with Matthew Harris. He's taking a closer look at some of the wonderfully weird, gloriously geeky, and freaky things in our world.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky show. We took a couple of weeks off. We had a week where we were preparing for the big indie event, and then a week where we were recovering from the indie event. We had a really good time. If y'all didn't make it, there are a lot of the videos that are on the Geek Insider YouTube, and you can check that out. We had a lot of great guests. We had some good fun. We got to meet a lot of cool people, cool artists, cool indie developers. And it's something that we are planning again. So just watch for that. You can watch Indie Event. That's INDEEVENT.com. And we're going to have some news coming up about a end of the summer kind of event, and we'll have different guests. We've already got some killer stuff planned. But anyway, I wanted to come back to the show with something special. And, you know we've talked a lot about the Mandela Effect, and I've explained my reasons, that I am, what I call affected. But over our little break here, something happened that pulled me right back into the Mandela Effect again. And if you've listened to my show, or you've watched the show on YouTube, or you've read articles on geekinsider.com, you have probably witnessed a few things, especially if you are a member of the affected of the Mandela Effect, that you've seen some things that have just been downright freaky. I mean, that's one of the names of the show. But no matter what your main effect is, what you consider the end all be all of the Mandela effects that have pulled you in, there's a group of events that tend to sincerely shake observers to their very core. And we haven't really covered these. I may have mentioned them a couple of times, but I'm talking about Mandela flip-flops, or Mandela Effect flip-flops. And, no, I'm not talking about, your favorite slip-on $5 pair of summer shoes. I'm talking about the earth tilting experience of witnessing a specific change only to see it change yet again, usually back to what you originally remembered. For many of those in this group, they've known a particular event or item to be a certain way. And then they learn at some point that, no, it's always been different. And so they accept it. Some of them chalk it up as to being just another Mandela effect. But then a short while later, it's back to the way they originally remembered. And this is what we know as or what we call a flip-flop in the Mandela community. And for others, things seem to change right before their eyes. I've had this happen, and we'll discuss that tonight. And I'm not referring to any of this sort of crap, guys, and I hope you can hear this. I'm trying something a little different tonight, but I'm not talking about this. See what you hear here. All right. I don't know what you heard, but this is that thing where it was going around the web a while back where some people hear Yanni and some people hear Laurel. That is a perception thing, and it really pisses me off because earlier when I first started getting this show together, I was hearing Yanni clear as day several times. I'd go do the rest of the prep, and then I go back to load this up to get ready for the show, and I'll be damned if I'm not hearing Laurel now. And so, and they say, that like 47% hear Yanni and so many percent hear Laurel, but it's just one of those that really freaks me out. And here, let's listen to it again. See, so anyway, that's not a Mandela effect. That is a perception thing, and I don't know the science behind it. It's a weird little occurrence. And hey, Paul, thanks for tuning in. I went to high school with Paul, and hey, y'all, check this out. My wife got me this new shirt, and it says, "It's dangerous to go solo. Take a Wookiee." And so I had to wear that tonight because, of course, I'm a geek. But anyway, so again, I'm not talking about crap like that. That's perception. I'm talking about actual changes to an individual or a group of individuals' reality. There's a reason that the observers of these events are shaken to their cores. And like I said, unfortunately, I happen to be one of them. And we'll discuss more of what I've witnessed as we go through the stuff tonight. And I really don't know how long the show is going to go, folks. The notes that I have for this are extensive, so it'll probably be over 30 minutes, but I hope you'll stick with it because I think you'll understand why the Mandela Effect flip-flops are just some of the strangest occurrences in this phenomenon. And we're going to talk about several of them. I haven't been witness to all of these that I'm going to talk to, but I can tell you from personal experience that these things can make you feel like you're losing your damn mind. So before you say, oh, this dude's gone nuts and everybody that has experienced this is crazy, they're suffering from mental illness. Trust me, every last one of us has considered it when we witness this shit. Luckily for me, I have a witness to almost every single one that I was, lucky enough to observe. And not to mention, there's untold hordes of people that have experienced many of these exact same experiences, not slight variations, exactly the same. Well, almost exactly the same anyway. Just a second, Well, Paul, the Mandela Effect, and folks, if you're new to this, the Mandela Effect is a large group of people that remember events differently than what history says now. Myself and a large group of people remember that Nelson Mandela died in prison in the late 90s. And then we were the late 80s. And we were more than a little shocked a few years later when he was suddenly released and then went on to become the president of South Africa. Years later, many people got together and realized that they had this exact same memory. On geekinsider.com, Paul, there's a lot of articles that I have on this. You'd be surprised about the various things that have changed. I'm not going to go into all of them tonight because I have had other shows on it. But there's a lot of things that have changed, like your vehicle side mirror. I don't know if you remember growing up, and it said a lot of us remember is it said objects in the mirror may be closer than they appear. Well, it's never said that. It's always said objects in mirror are closer than they appear. Thanks, Jason. That's my brother out there listening. And there's many more like this, that people have solid anchor memories or solid memories of specific events, and they're no longer have ever been that way. But anyway, on the flip-flops, what'll completely flip your lid on these Mandela Effect flip-flops is that everyone seems to experience them at different times. Some will have seen the flip part a few years ago, and then it flopped just recently. Some had the whole process play out in just a matter of days, and yet others are still in what they consider the middle, where one of the more popular flip-flops has flipped for them, but they're still waiting for the other shoe of Mandela's to drop. And I know this sounds a bit confusing and maybe a little more than crazy, but we're going to get into the actual events now, and I think you'll understand why the Mandela Effect flip-flops are just so damn freaky. Now, the latest one for me, it made me fall down this rabbit hole again just a couple of weeks ago is because I just witnessed the flop on it just the other day. Luckily, my best friend David has witnessed the exact same flip on this, or the exact same change on this. And this is one I haven't attempted to explore in the Mandela community or on Reddit. So I don't even know if it can be classified as a true Mandela effect, since the whole premise is an event that, or, the whole premise of Mandela Effect is that a mass group of people misremember this said event. And since just David and I are the only ones so far that have seen this, it can't really be considered a Mandela Effect yet. But it could also be that he and I are simply the first of many, and I kind of got the scoop on this one, because either way, as it happened very recently, and I have a bona fide witness, we're going to talk about Avengers Endgame. Now, of course, that deals with time travel, but there's a specific scene where Captain America, he ends up going into Agent Carter's office. He sees a picture of himself and on her desk, he realizes where he is, and then he actually sees her through the glass. Now, if you'll remember, Cap had a date with her in the first Captain America movie, and just to avoid any spoilers, let's just say he didn't make it. So the scene is a bit emotional for Steve. And anyway, David and I, we went to the theater to see Endgame, and we both immediately commented on a specific goof, because though Cap had traveled back to the past, it was still decades after we last saw Agent Carter in any of the Avengers movies. And her hair was still dark. And so there was no sign of aging on her face, not a single gray hair. And this is 25 years later. Cap went into the ice in 1945. And then in this particular scene, he's traveled back to 1970. So we're 25 years later. So David and I called this out. We had a discussion on it, laughed about it. Oh, what a big goof. Well, then when we watched it a second time, suddenly she had gray hair. She was older. Looked like she should 25 years later. And no, we're not conflating it with the end of the dance scene with her and Steve, or there's David right now. He was my witness to this. Paul, I'm just your snuff brother then. But anyway, we talked about it again, and we're not conflating it with the like I said, the final scene where they're older and she is a little gray. We kind of chalked it, or didn't chalk, David was basically popped his cherry on this one, because this was his first Mandela Effect, where we both had witnessed a change. I had christened him into the world of it. I had shown him a few things that he was like, what the hell? But this was the first one that we both witnessed change. So last weekend, I'm sitting around and I decide I'm going to watch all the series from, getting too excited there. All the series from Ragnarok on forward. And so like Sunday, I get into Endgame, and I'll be damned, all of a sudden, Agent Carter is back to her dark-haired, no gray original self. I immediately sent David a message, and this is what I said. I said, last time you watched Endgame, what color was Agent Carter's hair? He said, well, the last time we discussed it, it was gray, but the first time we watched it wasn't. I said, yeah, it's back to black now. He said, for real? Damn. A bona fide Mandela Effect flip-flop for two of us at least. And let me show you real quick. Here she is. And Meredith is flashing me for a break, but we'll take that in just 1 second. Here she is in 1940s, 45-ish, 44, when in the original Captain America, the first Avenger, there she is with little bitty Steve Rogers before he even becomes Cap. And then lo and behold, 25 years later, of course, it's kind of hard to see her there, but you can see she looks exactly the same. No gray, no wrinkles. She hadn't aged, but we saw her age. And so I don't care if you don't agree with us. And if you did see her as old, just be aware now she's young again. So anyway, we are going to take a break. This is exactly where I wanted to take a break. And it's on the 15th, so Meredith can't yell at me too much. But y'all hang tight. We got several more of these to go. And they're ones that are not just ones that I've witnessed. There's ones that the Mandela Effect community at large has witnessed, or a lot of them have. So stay tuned.
We'll be back right after this.
Check it out. MobileEdge.com has award-winning products with innovative features and contemporary, edgy designs that empower you to look sharp and travel smart with your mobile tech. Your beloved, not to mention expensive gaming gear and mobile tech devices are an extension of you, so give them the protection and style they deserve wherever you go. Find them at MobileEdge.com and protect your tech with Mobile Edge. Bring it on. Hey Geek Insiders, Mobile Edge has a special coupon code for our dedicated listeners. Get 25% off your Mobile Edge gear using coupon code GEEK25. That's GEEK25. Geek out.
And I don't know if I've mentioned this with Mobile Edge. As soon as probably this next week, we actually have a contest coming for this badass little power supply for you gamers out there, or you folks that are on the go a lot with your laptops. It takes a charge, holds a charge, and powers your stuff for a good long while. We'll get all the specs and all that. I've got to actually unbox it on a video this week, and then we'll get the contest going. But anyway, that's from our buds over at mobileedge.com. So the next one that I want to discuss, it comes from Forrest Gump. And this is one that Brenda and I, my wife, have witnessed together. Now, a lot of you are probably already aware that there's not a single spot in the Forrest Gump movie where Forrest actually says, "My mama always said life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get." Never says it. It's an extremely popular Mandela Effect. It says it on the box. And people, if you ask them to quote it, that's what they're going to say. But he actually says, "My mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get." So I'm not talking about this scene. I'm talking about a scene, though, that does refer to those damn chocolates, and which, again, that's a popular Mandela Effect. And so I'm surprised that a lot of people haven't seen this same one with the chocolates. Because when we discovered it in the scene where Mama is dying, she tells Forrest that life's a box of chocolates. Life's, apostrophe S, no enunciation. But in subsequent viewings, she had changed to life is a box of chocolates. Now, the scene stuck with us both because since she never says like, we were just kind of wondering, why Forrest says like. And we were both shocked when we saw the change or witnessed the change going from life's a box of chocolates. I even have it in some old notes from when I was affected by this one. And I referred to them today because it went back to life's for the last time. Brenda messaged me. She goes, "Oh my God, I'm watching it. It's back to life's." No biggie. We're actually kind of used to this crap by now. And then I go to get the scene to share tonight, and I'll go to hell. I guess we're in another midst of a flip-flop, because listen to what Mama says now.
What's Mama going to say, Mom? You're going to have to figure that out for yourself. Life is a box of chocolates, Forrest. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself. Life is a box of chocolate. Figure that out for yourself. Life is a box of chocolate.
She full on says life is like a box of chocolates. No more lives. And so I swear the Mandela Effect flops are the freaking freakiest. There's just no two ways about it. And this next one, I haven't actually experienced it, but that's probably because I haven't seen the movie more than once. But there's a lot of people that run into this one, and it's kind of a twofer. because there's an impressive group of people that have witnessed this famous scene of Apollo 13 alternate back and forth with the actual event. Now, in the movie, Tom Hanks says, or at least now he says, Houston, we have a problem. While the real audio from that night or that day said, Houston, we've had a problem. Had. Now, here's the movie version real quick.
Say again, please. Houston, we have a problem. Say again, please. Houston, we have a problem.
Clearly says, Houston, we have a problem. And then here's the audio from actual Buzz Aldrin during that time.
Okay.
Flight coming. Overhead hatch is closed and the heater current was low. Okay. All right, guys. Go ahead.
Houston, say again, please.
I don't know what it was. Okay. You can see, you want to look at it?
And so I don't know if you can hear that one too well. Of course, it's from way back in the day, but he does say we've had a problem. Again, I have no dog in this fight, but I have seen it time and time again come up at various times throughout the 3 years that I've been dealing with the Mandela Effect, where people swear up and down that Tom Hanks used to say, and to align with history, Houston, we've had a problem. And then it's gone back to we have. There's also those that swear that the actual footage used to say we have a problem, and then now it's at we've had a problem. Again, that one I don't have a whole lot of experience with, but if you go online and you do some searching around on Apollo 13 and Mandela Effect, you're going to see long chains of folks discussing their love of both space exploration and the movie, and how Hanks, for them, used to say had a problem in order to be historically accurate. And what's even more trippy with this one is if you look around, there's even those that swear that they've witnessed this Mandela Effect flip-flop more than once. The next one, let me double check. Yep. The next one is another one that I don't personally have experience with. And while it doesn't make any sense to me on why this particular one would change in the first place, there's way too many people out there in the community that have experienced this one for me to ignore it. While I've personally always known the cartoon as Flintstones, Flintstone, there are a lot of people out there that have vivid memories of it once or twice being Flynn, Flinstone. Now, the skeptics love to pick on this one because of the fact there's no such thing as a Flintstone. And the whole show had references to actual stones. You know, you had rubble, slate, just to name a couple. But as far as the Mandela Effect goes, this does indeed fall into the Mandela Effect category because a large group of people have the same memory. And yes, there are many out there that state they've seen it go from Flintstone to Flintstone and then now back to Flintstone. And again, I've never seen this one change. It's always been Flintstone to me. But the next one is one of those that I kind of witnessed in real time. Once again, very glad that I had a witness because it's just one of those that would nag at you if you didn't. And I'm talking about the word dilemma. Now, if you're like me, you may have recalled learning to spell this awkward word as Dilemna. And you were probably a little perplexed to find out that it's always been Dilemma. It's another classic Mandela effect. You can go and look. There's even people that have the dilemma as the tagline on Reddit, and it's again a big one. But it turned into a flip-flop for Brenda and I because when I first discovered this one, we happened to look it up immediately. We looked it up online because we did both remember the MNA teaching. Brushed it off as the people in that thread were nuts because the freaking dictionary showed it as Dilemna. just as we both remembered. But it wasn't a week later that I went to use the word on something I was writing, and it showed it as being misspelled. So I look it up, and I'll be go to hell. It was MMA again. And so I called Brenda in. I asked her for verification, and thankfully she remembered the events exactly the way I did, that we looked it up, and it was the way that we had been taught. And so she was a bit floored at this one. If I'm not misremembering, I think this was her first official flip-flop. Fruit Loops, well, we'll get into that one in a minute. I just kind of foreshadowed the next thing that we're going to talk about. But she was, like I said, she was a bit floored at the change. We've only got one more left, and so we're only going to run a couple of minutes over the 30-minute mark. So I'm going to run our quick ad for Geek Insider, and then we will wrap things up with the biggest of the biggest Mandela Effect flip-flops. Stand by.
We'll be back right after this quick break. For Geek Insider advertising opportunities, contact advertising@geekinsider.com. We offer space on the website, in the daily newsletter, sponsored posts, and advertising space on our podcast. For details, contact advertising@geekinsider.com.
All right. And guys, I didn't even mention it. I got a brand new closing segment or outro tonight, and y'all need to stick by for it. One, Meredith put me together a kick-ass little outro, but two, I got hooked. Y'all have heard me talk about Joe Hertler and the Rainbow Seekers, how much I love them. I actually even have a poster here. I think I've shown it a couple of times, a signed poster of their most recent album. And, but they've actually given us permission to do something cool. So anyway, the last Mandela Effect flip-flop that we're going to discuss today actually slammed me face first down the rabbit hole of Mandela Effect just a little over 3 years ago. I had just recently found the whole phenomenon thanks to Louis Anderson suddenly being a zombie and no longer being dead. And so I was spending a lot of evenings going through the various forums, watching videos, checking out websites, looking for all the ones that had changed for me. And when I came across a certain cereal from my childhood, all right, I eat cereal all the time still. Who am I kidding? But people were saying that it had changed. And I was immediately ready to just mark this, like I said earlier, as these folks are nuts. I can just stay out of that topic. But then I was stopped dead in my tracks. Now, I knew this cereal quite well, better than just having eaten it as a child and somewhat through adulthood. I had a super strong anchor memory to Fruit Loops because my late wife used it as an online chat handle. Excuse me, back in the late 90s or back in the 90s. And so I've always known from childhood and then through that it was Fruit, F-R-O-O-T, Loops, L-O-O-P-S. So when I saw people online saying that it had always been Fruit, spelled the traditional way, F-R-U-I-T, I knew they were wrong. And a quick web search and holy fucking shit, it was Fruit, F-R-U-I-T. Brenda and I had just started dating at the time, and she admitted later that she thought I may well be completely fucking nuts at that point because my world was spinning, guys. There was just no way. I mean, I even brought my youngest daughter in on it because she knew about Lori using the moniker, and my heart's kind of beating fast now just even remembering that one, guys, because it was earth-shattering. And then it only lasted a few days. Suddenly, magically, maddeningly Mandela'd, yet somewhat comforting, it had changed back to Fruit, F-R-O-O-T. And again, I was super thankful that I had a witness because this was in the beginning of me delving into this stuff. And it really shook me to the core. I thought I was losing my damn mind. And the thing is, folks, is that this one is the biggest one for a reason because there are tons of people that have experienced this same flip-flop from several years ago. And even there's probably folks that witnessed it yesterday. They just haven't found their way online yet. But you go on to the forums and Reddit and stuff, you will see where people are still experiencing this one, and it rocks them. And it's just, that's one of the most maddening things about the flip-flops, is that people experience it at different times. Some even remember, at this point, there are those that remember growing up with it always being fruit, F-R-U-I-T. And so they're pretty much experiencing it as a basic Mandela effect right now. They're kind of waiting for it to change back to the one they knew. But again, in my opinion, this is the most popular Mandela effect flip-flop. And it's one that continues to ensnare people today. It was, like I said, and it is fruit right now. At least I didn't even go look today, but I'm assuming it's still OOT and made out of the little cereals. But that is it. That is the main ones of Mandela effect flip-flops. Look, even my daughter popped in. Hey, you remember it. Don't be calling me a weirdo. But she does. She when I went to her, I said, have you ever heard of Mandela Effect? And she's like, yeah. And I don't care what people say, that damn Shazam movie did exist. She worked in a video store, and she specifically remembers Shazam coming as a sequel to Kazam. But anyway, that's going to do it for tonight on the Mandela Effect flip-flops. She says, yep. She remembers the Shazam vividly. She does think I'm nuts on a lot of the other ones, but, she's young, and so she doesn't pay attention. You know how those kids are these days. But that's going to do it for me for another edition of Geeky, Cheeky, and Downright Freaky. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I will have an article up on this. If you want to see all the little videos and stuff, I will include those in. I only played audio tonight because if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, that rat of a mouse, Mickey Mouse, slapped me for playing a video, and I'm kind of gun shy, especially since they own the whole Avengers thing now. So I'm trying to play it better safe than sorry, because I don't need the mouse's ninjas coming after me. But y'all have a great week. Make sure that you check out geekinsider.com. Of course, check out our YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out Meredith's pet project, Wild One Forever. She's got a great new celebrity writer over there, Anne Louise Gettleman, who is known in the wellness and fitness industry. So we got a lot of things going on. Again, thanks everybody. Y'all have a great rest of your week. Stay safe out there. And as my friend Brian K. Morris always says, wear a mask and wash your hands, damn it. Well, he doesn't really say it like that, but something along them lines. Y'all check out my new closing. Here we go.
To all my lonely people still falling from a tree, to all my broken lovers still learning how to breathe. If y'all need someone to sing with, yeah, you can sing with me. Can I get an amen? Amen. You never know if it don't dance. Take me to your leader, baby. Yeah, don't worry about me, mother. Don't worry about me, brother. Don't worry about me. Y'all don't need to understand me, deaf. Don't worry about me, friend. Don't worry about me, brother. Don't worry about me. Y'all don't need to understand me.
Meredith did a kick-ass job on that video, but my friend Joe HERTLER and the Rainbow Seekers, that is their song. It's Death, Don't Worry About Me. You can find it on iTunes and Amazon play it all the time. It's off their latest, it's off their latest album. And it has all the information there and the credits, but y'all be sure and check them out. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next week. Don't know what we'll talk about. I think it's going to have something to do with Are Angels Real? I've been wanting to cover that one, but you never know. If Mandela comes and kicks me in the head again with something else, then we'll cover that next week. But we'll see. Have a great